love TV.
We're recording. I just wanted to get some of this to throw in. You guys are having a moment.
He's a star. Okay.
And that close.
Oh, wait.
You're coming in super low.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, see that's...
Are you ready to escape? Escape.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Thank you for tuning in.
Hello. Welcome to RNC Watch TV. Well, yeah.
Oh, that clipped. That clipped bad. Anyway.
So we have a show we need to talk about. We started to talk about it last week, but we finished it this week. And that show is Fleishman Is in Trouble.
Yes.
12 out of 10. Incredible. Fantastic. And you're just like, how the fuck is this going to end? And then it like addresses that. It's just like, how is this going to end? And then it pulls it off, you know? It ends perfectly. I can't think of a better way.
Yeah. It was a strangely uplifting ending that I did not see coming, and normally would have thought if they were going to go that route that it was going to somewhat almost take away from it.
Mm-hmm.
But they managed to pull it off in they found a way. They felt it was a very satisfying ending, which you don't get from a lot of stuff these days. Like there was an article that I forgot where I saw it, but it was talking about how basically Netflix like killed off the actual proper ending, which like with Netflix stuff has been rampant. Like I don't even expect for like anything that I watch on Netflix to have any kind of closure to it anymore. It's like they don't write endings anymore. So actually having something satisfying to take away, it was nice. Going off on a tangent, sorry.
No, that's interesting. I mean, as a writer, endings are really hard. I don't even write fiction. Like, I'm not even writing a story, but just closing out whatever I'm writing, I will often just say my last thought and that's it because I'm lazy. But a good ending, even not even a great one, just a good ending is really hard to write. Harder for me, harder than a good opening, but I should probably spend more time on my openings too.
Your writing is freaking awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, so I mean, I've heard that the economics of streaming like disincentivize multiple seasons. So is that to do with the not writing an ending, or like what was the argument?
I didn't read the article, but I just agreed with the title. I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly, when you said I read an article, or I thought you'd said I read an article, I was like, that doesn't sound like you to read a whole article about this topic. It sounds like a me thing.
I mean, I thought it was interesting because I need to go back and actually read it. I'll do that. That'll be my homework before our next episode. But that's one thing that like I've noticed on Netflix for a while is it's not even the TV shows. It's like the movies that Netflix funds. Half of them just have no ending. They just end.
Yeah.
And you're left with no satisfying like takeaway from it.
Yeah, I will say like one of the reasons I love TV is that I get invested in the characters and I like to see what happens to them, you know, over years. And so I was loving Fleishman, and I'd looked up whether there would be a season 2, and you know, everybody was like, no, this is it. And I just was like expecting to get to the end of season 1 and just be like, oh, I really want a season 2. But the ending was so good and the story was so like contained that yeah, I mean, these are characters I'm invested in, and I would love to see like what happens to them. But I don't know. I also am totally accepting of like, nope, this is where we picked up and left off, and that's what it is.
No, they tied it up really, really well. Like, yeah, to like you said, to where I don't feel like there's, I mean, like, honestly, I feel like it would heavily take away now at this point to have a season 2 because they tied everything up so freaking well.
Yeah.
But honestly, I thought the end of the season was either the ending of episode 6 or 7, where like it's where she's talking to Rachel and like it shows her like Rachel's finally falling asleep and she sits on her bed and like it has that really slow like piano thing. Honestly, I thought that was the ending. I was like, well, this is about as good as we're gonna get, because like I've been my expectations for like something being tied up well is like so low at this point. So I was really happy when there were other episodes.
Yeah. A few things I liked about the show. I mean, I don't even have enough brain space to remember all the things I liked about it. I mean, obviously the writing, like so many great lines. Like when Rachel's like, we constantly, not constantly, but a few times have said, circle back when you start making sense. Oh my God, that was so good.
Damn.
And I loved Rachel's character. I loved like her being between classes, like social classes, and being very smart and competent, more so than likable, and like really leaning into that. And gosh, the rejection like from the other women, like that was so well done. Jesus. It was the whole show is just so true to life, but just a little snappier and more hyperbolic and funnier and more concise than real life. So it's more fun to watch than real life, but it's also true to life at the same time. Super compelling. And that was just so good because that's just how it be sometimes, you know? Especially when you're trying to fit into a context where you don't really fit. And it's not that there's anything necessarily wrong with you or wrong with them. It's just not a good fit. And I thought, spoilers, you know, when it turned out she was having a breakdown, it's one of those things where it's not usually how it works. People who are super, super competent don't usually break down for the first time in adulthood, but it does happen, you know? It's a thing that happens. And
God, the writing for that stretch was so good too.
It was really
the
good.
Narrator basically, she keeps going back to the same thought of eating lo mein with the same
oh my God,
like memory of a college roommate or something, and like you can just like see this like vicious loop and like forming, and you're like, oh shit, that like it really makes things start to hit, or like it makes it hit home like really hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the rare show that hits like, I mean, it's not generally like LOL, but it's very funny. It's very clever. But then when it's harrowing, it does the harrowing well too, which is hard to do in one show. But yeah, speaking of harrowing, like the sexual assault while giving birth, like I really loved that. I think, I mean, obviously it was like harrowing, but it's so underexplored and so common. Like some kind of trauma, some kind of agency violation, some kind of like, you know, horrible experience giving birth is like extremely, extremely common and not talked about. And I think that's awful. So I appreciated that it was talked about and shown. I mean, it was interesting too, because at one point in the show, Rachel describes the assault, and you know, then they depict it, and it was depicted pretty much exactly as I imagined it. but I wonder whether people who've thought less about it, or I don't know, whatever, if they had pictured it that way, or if seeing it was surprising to them.
They made it feel devastated. Like they did it justice in terms of just how fucking devastating something like that would be. Like
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. And gosh, yeah, the whole point about how there are no heroes, there are no villains was really, really good. And it's so true. The whole thing. Anyway, so that was Fleishman Is in Trouble. Give it a watch. It's incredible. I think I'm planning to read the novel. And anything else Taffy, I forget her last, it's a hyphenated name, has written.